Welcome back to Edgework, part of the Hammer Betting Network, presented by FanDuel. I'm Zack Phillips, joined by Alex Moretto, Matt Alber here to break down two NHL games tonight. But one of them, maybe one of the biggest games we've seen in the league in a long, long,
Don't
long
talk about the
time.
Ducks and Sens like that.
Long, long time. This could be a loser, blows it all up, tanks the organization, calls it quits on the season type of game here, right, Albert?
Loser relegated to the AHL.
I mean, I okay, like the Ducks are bad. The Ducks aren't that bad, so I think that may be a little extreme.
All right, yeah, okay. Well, we'll get to the games today. We'll give out best bets. We'll answer questions from the chat. We'll try to find something fun to do here at the end of the show. Only two games makes it a little bit more difficult for us to hit something like what Sam was giving out yesterday. But yeah, we'll take a look. As for what we did yesterday on the show, 7 best bets given out. We go 5-2. The only ones that lose were very decisive losers, Moretto. We had under 5.5 minus 105 in Minnesota, Utah. That one was 4-4 going to a shootout, finished 5-4. So under 5.5.
That one was the most CLV we got in any bet yesterday too. That one had some pretty
Yep.
crazy closing line value. And it was also 2-1 going into the third period, and Minnesota just needed to suffocate that game and could not do it.
And then the other one was Bruins money line plus 120. Yeah, they lost 8-1.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't consensus that in the end. 3-0 on double best bets yesterday. That was good.
That is good. I mean, that turns things around in a positive direction for us there. So
too bad we only get credited with the 1 unit for those. So this is why when we do the individual breakdowns and it doesn't add up, it's because we are actually winning a lot of these double best bets, and it's like we're only getting a unit for them, but then like when we do it individually, we're getting 2.
Probably like the smart way to approach it at the beginning of the year at minimum though, because we had a terrible track record on double best bets
It never
previously.
won.
Last year was horrific. Yeah, last year
Yeah.
was
literally
awful.
could not win one.
Yeah,
It was like pretty much if we double best bet something, just mark it as a loss. Like
for sure we were
loss. Don't
bribing
worry
each
about it.
other behind the scenes last year to not don't give this out. I'm giving this out. Don't give this out.
I'm still remembering that Nashville Vancouver game in like last October where we had the triple best bet and we were just like, yeah, this is a loss. Like
Yeah,
guaranteed loser, 100%. And then obviously did lose.
Yeah, it was ugly from that standpoint, but we'll get to that. Well, maybe we can find some futures here potentially today. But before we get into anything, you guys know it already. Hockey season, it's in full swing. And with FanDuel, you can turn a little hunch into a true power play. FanDuel is the hottest same game parlays found on the Parlay Hub. Lace them up and follow your bets with player prop tracking or bet on the fly with the Pulse. Make every NHL watching experience more with FanDuel, North America's #1 sportsbook, and new customers kick off season with $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Just place any $5 bet. You'll get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Disclaimer, please play responsibly. You must be 19 plus, physically located in Ontario. Gambling problem, call 1-866-531-2600. That's 1-866-531-2600 or visit connectsontario.ca. Guys, before we get into that, any other games that caught your eye last night that you were watching or had interest in, just in general, in terms of what went on or what could happen between teams?
I was upset about the lack of stones I had and not giving out that Tampa Oilers under that I liked, and did not bet myself too. I was able to talk myself out of it by saying, well, there's no Sorelli. I said we needed Sorelli and Vasilevsky, and then so I fully did not take the plunge, and that was a no doubter. But
about 6:30 yesterday, I said, why are the Predators laying minus 175 to anyone? Obviously didn't bet it, and you know the rest.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it is what it is.
I had hockey last night, so I missed a lot of the earlier games. We watched a lot of the Lightning Oilers game up at the bar, but like that Bruins game looked wild, like fights and everything like that. I need to like catch up on some of the highlights. It looked like Sacco and coaches were yelling at each other behind the bench too. I don't know what the hell was going on there, but I need to catch up on that.
I wasn't even sure what was going on with that one either. I saw that after the fact. I have not followed up in terms of what went on, but that looked pretty electric.
Yeah,
I
it did.
mean,
It did.
it's screaming at each other up behind the
Yeah.
benches. Yeah. Well, Alber, are you in the arena tonight? This is what I need to know. Or is this
Well,
what
it's in
No,
it's
it's
in
not at
Buffalo.
it's in
MSG.
Buffalo. Never mind, never mind.
It's in Buffalo.
Oh, I was gonna say that would be truly something special.
The
if,
answer is
we
I
got to be
wouldn't
there.
want to. I literally wouldn't want to. Like even the other night, you get there and it's like none of us even want to be here. Didn't really think they were going to lose to. Yeah, I mean they just it's
Permeating throughout the entire organization. You guys are.
I mean they're getting booed off the ice at this point. Like it's well deserved too.
We could probably get
out of
into
the
KeyBank Center for like $5 tonight at most. We could drive to Buffalo.
and I still wouldn't pay that. And I still
have
wouldn't pay
dinner,
that.
get a couple beers, and go to the game and drive back, and still it would be cheaper than it would be to buy a single ticket to a Leafs game.
Oh, it'd be
Yeah.
way cheap. Like you could probably no, you couldn't fly to Buffalo and back, but like yeah, you could easily do that round trip. But that's also part of why like we don't need to go deep into this. But that's why Ranger fans travel so well. It's because it's cheaper to go to all these away
Leafs
games,
too,
and
yeah.
actually travel, get hotels, etc. Like especially come playoff time, like gone to Carolina twice now. Like that whole trip's been cheaper than just getting a ticket at MSG. And
So we could sit behind the Rangers net here tonight. I'm looking at it right now.
do you want to chirp Igor?
I mean, no free ads, but whatever. I'm
Well, we
gonna pull
shouldn't
this
chirp
up
Igor.
just
He's the only half decent player they have.
We could sit behind the Rangers net where the Sabres shoot twice for $29 a ticket.
Yeah.
11 rows up.
We can chirp Keandre Miller. He's the new whipping boy on defense without Truba.
Yeah.
I will say,
hmm.
you say Rangers fans travel well, but like I guarantee you, I'm not. This
Tonight
is
they won't.
this is just. I'm just going off what like I've seen in the past. But Habs at Sabres or Leafs at Sabres, those tickets would be a lot more expensive still than what this is tonight.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the Leafs are what 45 minutes away.
No, about 2 hours. The Habs are about
no idea. I
about
literally
like
have no idea.
Plus
4 or
cross
5.
the border. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, that's no good. No good there. But yeah,
no
cheap
good.
to get in.
There will still be a lot
Okay.
of Ranger fans there.
While we're on it though, we're talking about the Rangers before we get to the actual game. I got a message. Matt Jones sent this to me on Twitter. Matt Jones sends this. Rangers no playoffs in the plus 170-ish range. Right now on FanDuel, Rangers no playoffs is currently plus 162. Is there a number that stands out to you guys for the Rangers to miss the playoffs that would start to intrigue you? That would say, hey, yeah, that's a number I don't want to let go by. That's a number I would want to get involved in.
That
172.
number intrigues
So
me.
go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that number is solid. Like I don't hate that. They're a mess. I don't see them turning it around. I don't think Laviolette's a guy to turn it around. I don't think the management situation's a disaster. Like it just, I guess, depends how they put this newfound cap space to work and when they do it. But yeah, I think that's decent.
Is there another way that
Yeah.
you could play this for other teams to make it? Like Charles points out, Flyers make playoffs, yes, would be the better bet instead. Or would be the bet instead. Flyers make playoffs plus 340 right now.
Yeah, it like if I'm doing this, I'm definitely kind of looking at one of the other teams to make it versus them to miss. For me, part of the reason I don't love that no price, like they're terrible right now. And like if you want to see if things are going to get better or worse quick, like go look at the Rangers next month's schedule. Like things are not going to get better. I just am so low on the rest of this East. Like the Islanders, the Flyers, the Penguins, like you go down that, like I don't think Columbus, Ottawa, like I think all those teams just stink. So like look at the Rangers and yeah, they've been terrible. They're still better than those teams. So it's like, it's not like there's a team there. Like I know last year, a lot of the year people were looking at, okay, like the Devils are the team that's going to make a run. Like which of these teams out of the playoffs do you really expect to maybe make that run? Like, is it the Islanders? I think that's probably the one a lot of people are thinking like, okay, maybe the Flyers kind of hang up on there. I don't know. Like, I don't think the Rangers are kind of in fire sale mode or anything. Like, I don't think they really have the ability to do that this year. But if there's a team down there that you really like, I would certainly rather go that method than just the Rangers to miss because you're going to get a much bigger price too.
kind of funny that there's no price posted on FanDuel right now. But the Habs right now, 4 points out. The Fighting Patrick Line is. We're right there, baby. We're right there.
Yeah, they're just not even listed, eh?
They're saving you from
not
yourself.
even listed. They're a point back of Buffalo, a point back of Detroit, a point back of Ottawa, but that point is too much. Too much. Can't list them. They need that extra point to be
Actually, so you can get it at the top. If you don't do the two-way market,
okay.
you go to the top leg to make, you get 14.
Okay.
Okay.
So maybe they're not saving you from yourself. They just don't want to offer no price on big ones like that, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
So saving you from yourself, but there it is.
Moretto.
We've made worse
back.
Do we?
I will say we have
unit that in the futures portfolio.
Wait. What bets would be worse? Like Mike Babcock, Jack Adams, or like Drew Bannister, Jack Adams? Would you classify those as worse
I would
bets?
classify those as worse.
Okay.
I would classify Columbus at 10-1 or Detroit at 5-1 as worse.
Detroit at
5-1 is worse. Like
way worse.
Yeah.
I've got some interest.
Is worse.
I'll also answer this here. So I'm not sure where he found this, but he pointed out Jack Adams, so money gave out at Tortorella at 100-1. It obviously moved. He said, I'm curious if you guys have some time for futures talk. Sheldon Keefe at 43-1. If Devils win the division and perhaps even the President's Trophy, that's probably a pretty live ticket. Hiller at 40-1. If Kings win the division, I know Moretto said he was high on them. This is also intriguing, perhaps. And then finally, Travis Green at 75-1. If Sens figure their shit out, so money might like that take. Those are the three that were pointed out. Keefe, I think that I mean, I'm going to be honest. I am a little late from when Matt sent this, but some of those awards, the one that's the most intriguing to me is Hiller. And the LA Kings. Are there any Jack Adams that are standing out to you guys right now, or anything you guys are trying to add to the portfolio or would be interested in adding to the portfolio? Sheldon Keefe 43-1 is still hanging around there.
Sheldon Keefe's an embarrassment. Those comments last night were so so pathetic.
Also, Moretto, was that not the most Sheldon Keefe game ever?
That was the most Sheldon Keefe game of all time. And then he responds after the game. Did you see his comment after the game? He's like, I walked away from the rink as proud as I am of as proud as I've been of my team all season. Like, dude, your fucking team lost. And like, it's the same shit, man. It's the same shit. Like, we're just happy to be there, respecting the handshake line. It's the same shit. Like these moral victories that he's looking for. Well, we outplayed them so well. Like, fuck off. I can't stand that shit. I hate it so much. Oh my God.
Sorry, Connor.
I do like that Keefe. I like that Keefe 43-1 number. Like, I'm still in just full on fade Carberry mode here. Like, I think they pretty much have to stay at the top of definitely the division. Like, they 100% have to win the division, I think, for him to really have a shot. And you're still getting a better price on Cap's division than this. Like, I don't think there's any way Carberry wins this if Carolina still wins the division. So I'm definitely looking for ways to fade him here.
Yeah, actually,
I do. Okay, maybe not in terms of betting, because like I agree with what you're saying. Although I do think the Caps can very likely win this division. But like at that point, why not just bet them plus 280 to win the division?
I think they can win the division. I just don't think he wins this if they don't. You're getting
I agree. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, no, right. I agree. That's fine. You'll get a better number on them to win the division. But betting aside, I think Carberry is maybe the best coach in the NHL right now. I would feel pretty comfortable saying that. What he's done with this team in the last 2 years is nothing short of just insanely impressive. I think he's legitimately one of the best coaches, if not the best coach in the NHL. And I know this award doesn't go to the best coach, so that doesn't really matter. But man, he's doing an incredible job.
What is the path then, like for Carberry? Like he has to win the division. That's it. That's the only way that they can do this. That he can get it.
I don't think
division
he has
and
to.
Maybe the East. I think he has
no. Okay, settle down, Jesus. No, there's no way he doesn't have to win the East.
I
don't even think he necessarily has to win the division.
Division.
I don't even think he has to win the division. Like it depends how other teams around, like what the other coaches are. Like I think like Hines is high on that board, and like Scott Arniel's high on that board, stuff like that. Like if those teams win their divisions and the Caps don't, then he's probably screwed. But like if the Wild, if like the chalky teams win their divisions, like if Dallas wins their division, Edmonton wins the division, Panthers win the division, and like the Hurricanes win the division, and Washington, which is all very realistic. Carolina, Washington comes second, and it's like close though, pretty down to the wire. Like I still think that he probably wins it at that point. So I don't think he has to win the division.
Hines for getting Wild into the playoffs.
Just into the playoffs? I don't know. If they
like
finish
at that point,
division,
if that's the path that I'm seeing for Carberry, really, like I'd rather take Hines.
Wait, what?
Or like if you think Ottawa's gonna make, like if you think Ottawa would sneak in, like I don't know. Like Carberry's like one of the worst, I think, bets on the board right now for Jack Adams. Like I do think Travis Green's better, and I don't like Ottawa.
Well, at this point, yeah,
Keith numbers better.
I'm not saying that I'm not advocating to bet Carberry right now. But like if you're not in on him at this point, then yeah, don't jump in now. But I think that he is the deserving favorite right now at the same time.
Yeah,
like he's deserving. I wouldn't bet him at this number, but he's deserving of being the favorite at this point. That's, I guess, how I would put that.
I agree with that. I also do agree with the comment here about Montgomery. I do think there's a chance. I do think there's a chance that, especially if they can kind of sneak into the playoffs. Like I think he's someone, again, like you got to remember how this award's voted. I think he's someone that all those guys would want to go for.
If he's someone getting fired early in the season and then winning the Jack Adams, that would have to be the first time ever. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying that would have to be the first time that's ever happened. No.
But again, if we end up in that scenario where it's all like the chalky division winners, okay, maybe the Caps slide to second, third in the division, like the Wild, cool, they started great, they end up third or wild card spot or whatever. Like there's no obvious answer. Yeah, like this to me feels like a year where, especially kind of over the next month or two, like it's probably worth loading up on some of these long shots, because it doesn't really feel like last year you kind of looked at it, was like, all right, like it really is Tocchet's to lose unless the Canucks just implode. Like there's no obvious 1-2 right now. Like, okay, Carberry should be one right now, but it's not like, you know what I mean? Like you don't look at it and say, okay, like it's going to be one of these two. It's like, it does feel to me very wide open for one of these long shots to kind of get up there.
So I think the one thing that we're losing in this a little bit is like establishing the Caps as a legitimate force in the East, whether they win the division or not. That is something that voters will take note of. Them becoming like a powerhouse, and like him like elevating them from fringe playoff team, like scraping into the wild card, to like 110 point team that is right there with the Caps, right there with the Devils, right there with the Panthers, right there with the Leafs. Like that is very much an accomplishment in and of itself, even though it's less tangible in that like you don't have the like we won the division. I do think he still gets recognition and gets some votes for that. Zach is going.
I agree. I think he's up there in the end. Just I guess kind of my point is like I think there are so many long shots at this point that I do see a very good chance that this kind of board changes a lot over the next couple of months.
Yeah,
like, I think there's a lot of variance in how this goes. Like there's probably 5 or 6 guys at least that I would like here better than. Like there's no way in hell I'd lay Carberry at this number. Like if anything, I'd love a Carberry no at this price. Just because I think there's so much variance in what could happen. Like we've already mentioned 3 or 4 guys that we like. Like, okay, you mentioned what if the Canadians sneak into the playoffs? We think all these other.
I was just about to say that.
There's worse 150
to 1 right now. 150
there's worse
to
flyers
1
than Marty St. Louis. Like to me, there's
even Jared Bednar, who I've talked
Waugh.
about multiple times. No, I think Waugh's done. I think Waugh's done at this point.
Yeah, I think Waugh's done as well.
I think that's a waste of money at this point. I'm holding Waugh too right now. But yeah, Bednar, I talked about this before. Again, like they just got their goalies. Like there's a very clear path to them winning this division now. 150 to 1. Like I still think that's worth something. Marty, if they do, like after the start to the year the Habs had, if I'm not saying he would be the one who necessarily should get all the credit for a turnaround, but like regardless, that's how this stuff is voted on. If they somehow do sneak into the playoffs, you're getting 14 to 1 of them to sneak into the playoffs, 150 to 1 instead on St. Louis Jack Adams. I mean, yeah, that's a pretty crazy number. There are worse bets to make.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely a few of these teams that were not really expected to make the playoffs kind of be in the mix that I mean, it's early, but they're kind of around there, especially kind of when we look at the top and say there's a lot of uncertainty here. Yeah, like there's a lot of guys down here. Like, okay, what if Seattle finds their way in? I think Biles might get
No,
some
I
votes.
don't.
Like,
No, I
see,
don't think
I
so.
think
Because
I
there
think
were
he I think
expectations preseason for them to be in the wild card mix anyways, and they're going to peak as a wild card team. I don't think that's enough.
I
Like
guess
those are
kind of
the
what I'm
ones,
getting at is like
Alber,
there
that I
are a
think is
lot
like those
of
were
upside.
expected, that he just has underperformed to this point based on expectations ahead of season, where it's like it's not like a shock if he does get in.
Yeah,
Like
like
it's not
them
like
making the wild
surprising.
card in a relatively like in a West that's very much not deep right now. It would be like almost they're backing into the playoffs. And there were expectations for them to be competing for a wild card anyways coming into the year. So them like turning it around to become that wild card team, I don't think he's in the conversation. I think there's a number of names we can cross off, and I think that he is one of them.
Yeah.
Um,
I would agree. I wouldn't see it there. I like the guys that I would look at there personally and have way more interest in would be like a Jim Montgomery taking a flyer in 80-1, because even that story of it would be fucking nuts. He gets fired for, like, just think about that, right? At the end of the season, St. Louis sneaks into a wild card spot here. We're looking at them going into the playoffs if that were to be the case. And we're like, this guy got fired from Boston, jumps on a St. Louis wagon that's been very terrible to start this season. Like, you think about even the start of the show for us, the trend of us coming on here talking about St. Louis games every night, and all of a sudden they're into the playoffs with him behind the bench. It's like, it's a story, right? Like those are some of the things you also have to think about within some of this. Like that's where I would discount a Bilesma and say, like, is it a story if Seattle gets in the playoffs? They're not gonna win like divisions or anything. They're probably not gonna get themselves into like a top 3 spot in there. So it's like a wild card or nothing. And at that point, it's not shocking if they do so. It's
Yeah,
narrative.
the other one that I don't hate, that I don't think you're going to agree with either, is Tortorella. I think he's going to get a lot of credit if they are able to find their way in. Is the other one I'd look at, but I don't know. We've named like 7 or 8 guys now. Like I think just kind of the point.
Well,
that
we
we're all
bet
making is,
Tortorella.
like,
We gave it, so money gave it on the show. Like we do,
oh,
we
we
are
did.
holding that. Yeah,
I didn't
we
even
are
know that.
holding that as a show. Yeah,
Which I like. Again, like I think he gets a lot of credit for kind of this quick turnaround, especially if they're able to kind of sneak their way in after last year. I thought he deserved a hell of a lot better in the Jack Adams voting than he got. I think he's going to get a lot more credit this year if they find their way in. I think just kind of the point we're making is like, if there is a team that you kind of like to maybe make a run here, there's a lot of ways to fade kind of the Carberry, Hines, Arneal top of this board that I don't think any of us are in love with.
yeah,
yeah.
I on a slight side note, I've been doing some work on point totals again here. In what is kind of a lighter week, where some more like off days, like there's only one game Friday show, I will have a few like in season team point total bets that I will be making that day. So if you want to come back Friday, I know it's only one game, so typically like not a busy show. There's some stuff that I've been working on, the stuff that I'm gonna be betting now in the next couple of days, that I'll talk about that stuff Friday. I just wasn't quite ready today. I didn't get through everything.
Yeah, so come back Friday. That's a good plug there, Moretto. Come back Friday. But all right, let's get to the games. We talked about awards there a bunch, talked about some of the playoff stuff. I think there's at least some information to take away, even in some of the scrambliness of that. But regardless, we do have 2 games to tee up here tonight. Let's start. You know what? Let's start with the less important one. Let's start with the Ducks and Senators. We'll go out with a bang here. Ducks plus 202, Sens minus 250, total of 6.5, plus 110 right now on the over, minus 134 under. Moretto, do you have anything in this game?
I don't. I lean towards the under with Ullmark, Ullmark was just confirmed, and Ullmark's been really good. Again, he's kind of turned a corner, and again, it's not playing him too much, I think, is big for his game, because now he hasn't been playing like a ton of hockey, and his performances have improved. So I don't think that's a coincidence. But like it's a bit tough to stomach Ducks unders right now. They are getting the goaltending, which is great, but they're still just a little bit too leaky defensively. And I want to know if Leo Carlson might be back tonight, in which case this really helps them offensively. So, and on the power play. So I lean under, but I just not enough for me to bet it.
Okay. Not enough for Moretto there. Enough for you, Alber?
Quack, quack, quack. I'm going full Rob, wearing the hat of the team I'm betting on here. Fade the Senators as big favorites. Going to continue to do it here. I can't sit here and talk about how the Ducks are a good team. They're not. They're kind of a mess. I can't get there with the Senators laying these kind of prices. And even against the Ducks, like, I'm happy to take a flyer on it. I can't see the Senators laying minus 250 to teams and not be interested in the other side.
Okay. So plus 202 here. We're going to grab on the Ducks. We'll see if we can find like slightly better. No, I mean, I think that's pretty fair. 202 there on the Ducks. Half full. What are we doing?
Let's do a half on that one.
Okay. There you go. Alber, first bet in. Half. Let's get to the game of the night. The game everyone in the entire world, even outside of hockey, is waiting for here tonight.
I don't even want to watch this.
Even the basketball fans, even the football fans.
Even
the basketball fans, yeah. Everyone's tuning into this one because it is what you would call a dumpster fire between the Buffalo Sabres and the New York Rangers here tonight. We lock in that first one, Ducks plus 202, and we'll move on here to the final game. The most important game, Rangers minus 140, the Sabres plus 116, total of 6.5 plus 104 to the over, minus 128 under. Alber, take us away. The Battle of New York. What are you thinking?
Stop me if you've heard this before, but the Rangers should not be laying these kind of numbers on the road to literally anyone right now. Like, even kind of in recent weeks, we were kind of talking about why they shouldn't be, but we were like, okay, well, the Blues suck. Like, the Blues aren't going to take advantage of it. Okay, well, the Blackhawks suck. Like, it doesn't matter. The Rangers are the get-right pill for every team in the league right now. Like, the last month, like, they got smoked by Buffalo. They played less than a month ago. Like, they lost to Calgary. They lost to Philly. They lost to St. Louis. They almost lost to Montreal. Probably should have. Shut up, Moretto. They lost the other night to Chicago and looked terrible doing so. Like, there is no team really that the Rangers are immune from. Like, they played San Jose and they probably deserve to lose that one. Like, there's no team right now that is bad enough to where the Rangers are just like totally outplaying them. Like, even the other night, like, they got outplayed by Chicago. Like, that wasn't a fluke game or anything. I don't know. Like, until they show some signs of life, they should not be laying. Like, these numbers still kind of have the market, like, with a lot of priors included in it. And you just can't do that with the Rangers right now. Like, I continue to think there's value against the Rangers every single night. I continue to think there's usually value on the overs, although right now they're not even able to score. So I don't really like those as much. So yeah, give me Buffalo kind of plus whatever it is, 120 and 115. Like, as long as the Rangers are playing like this. It doesn't even
matter. To any number.
And this is going to be the night that they're going to win now that I say all this, but like, it has not mattered. That's the problem with this. Like, it hasn't even mattered who they've played. Like, we kind of keep going to this. We're like, all right, well, these teams stink. Okay, Chicago stinks. St. Louis stinks. Philly stinks. Calgary. Like, they're losing to everyone.
Oh, now St. Louis stinks, eh? Now they stink. Now they stink.
They're just... They're the get right pill for everybody right now. So until they turn it around, just keep taking them or keep betting against them every time they're favored. That's it.
By the way, Charles in shambles right now. He came into the chat early on, trying to find the comment, and he said minus 5,000 for Albert to not give out a bet today. Well, 2 games. That was worse than my.
That's like minus 500. That's minus 5 million. That's worse than my truly not to get traded line.
Yeah, that's tough. He gave out 2 here today. Moretto, do you got anything in this game? Other than a supreme interest in both teams doing terribly?
I do agree. It's so like this. We talked about disgusting bets on this show, and like, ooh, let's get disgusting and bet the Sharks tonight. Let's get disgusting and bet the Hawks. Like, this Sabres team is disgusting, and betting them is so gross. Like, I talked about it last week on Friday, where I was like, okay, I want to see how the Rangers respond tonight, because like, I don't think they're going to respond well to this Trouba thing. but like I need to see it first before we get in on what could be a generational wealth opportunity, fading the Rangers night in, night out. They did win that Friday game, but like obviously quickly got back to their losing ways.
They didn't look great in doing so either.
No, they didn't look great on the Friday. They did look great in losing on the Sunday though against Seattle. Quick just couldn't make a save. That was maybe their best game in a long time. But they then again rebounded by looking like absolute dog shit against Chicago. Any other team they were playing against tonight, I would be absolutely slamming this. I'm still like this would for me though. This would be like a half unit bet on the Sabres. It's just because the Sabres. The issue with the Sabres right now is that they're not playing as bad as the Rangers. I know they're losing a ton, but like the confidence is so depleted from this team right now where like the second something goes wrong, it's like, oh, here we go again. And like they get in their heads and they're just unable to string together a full 60 minutes where they can put in these really good periods and then, they come out and allow an early goal in the next period. And then it all goes to shit so quickly, which is the tough part. It's tough to back a team like that. But like the Rangers are kind of similar. Like both these teams,
the Rangers are the exact same thing.
Yeah, they're like it's just like the Rangers it's the exact same situation. So it's just such an ugly game, and it's kind of tough to get involved. Like I would be fine with like a half unit on the Sabres, but like don't double best bet me on this full unit Sabres bet. I'd rather just stay off than go full here. I do agree though that Sabres is the side I'd want if anything, because you cannot back the Rangers at these prices right now. And I don't hate how Buffalo's playing. It's just, again, I think it's more of a mental thing for Buffalo than anything. Whereas the Rangers, I think, are actually just not that good.
I think it's mental for the Rangers.
It's mental too. It is definitely, there's a mental side to it too, for sure. But like, I think the roster is a lot closer to like being a wild card or like not necessarily a great team as the market kind of is pricing them as, whereas like the Sabres they're being priced relatively like fairly based on the talent they have. They're just kind of being a little undervalued because of the fact that they're a disaster right now, but like they're not actually a disaster. I don't think the roster is actually a disaster,
So here's my question kind of to this number then. If both teams are kind of playing about how they were expected to coming into the year, where do you think this price is sitting? Because I don't think it's drastically different.
I don't think it's drastically different.
But I think that's the thing, because I think 10 cents more. I think the Rangers have dipped more than Buffalo has.
Yes, way more. The Buffalo, that's the thing. I think this is about the same. The numbers about the same if both teams are what they were coming into the season. But the Rangers we know for a fact they are not that team. I still think Buffalo is that team. And that is maybe my fatal flaw here where I'm like, Buffalo is not that team. Like, wake up, adjust. But I still think Buffalo is that team. I still think the roster is good. I still think the team is pretty good. I just think they're really struggling mentally and struggling to kind of get over that hump. It takes a lot to learn how to win in this league, and I still think that they need to stick with Ruff. I think he's the guy to help get them through this rough patch. No pun intended there. But yeah, I think that they're still closer to that team than the Rangers are. So.
That's kind of the point I'm getting at with this number, right?
Yeah, I agree.
That's kind of the point I'm making is like, okay, if the Rangers have dipped off more from what we thought, and this is about the number we would have thought a couple of months ago, why are they still laying this number? It's kind of my mindset on this of like this should be like, I get that Buffalo has their issues too, but this number should be adjusted more from where we were if we were kind of still using like our priors very heavy or anything like that. Like to me, this should be something like Rangers minus 115. Like I don't know. I don't think that they're still getting adjusted enough in the market. I really don't. Like, so whoever's kind of controlling this right now, like they're still leaning on their priors so heavy if they're getting anywhere near the Rangers on a nightly basis. Cause like, I mean, you look at whatever you want, like this has been a bottom 10 team for the last month, if not worse. So it's like, I still don't think it's being adjusted enough.
I'm definitely expecting UPL. Reimer went last game, so I think for sure UPL starts tonight. And that's the other thing where like I could never bet an under in this game because it's the way these two teams are playing. It's pond hockey at times. So there's no way the way the Rangers are playing and everything. But like you can't. I don't want to bet an over with UPL and Shesterkin either. Like I just don't want to do that.
I also don't want to bet a Rangers over right now.
Yeah, they can't necessarily score, although they did generate a ton against Seattle and score 5 goals. But I hear what you're saying.
Like, and I was all over the Rangers overtrain for a while, kind of earlier when they were still able to generate a lot. Like, they have one line going right now, and that's their third line. Like, their third line's the only good line they have. Their first line's non-existent. Like, even the Panarin line's cooled off, like, drastically. Like, they're getting no help from the back end at all, especially kind of on offense. Like, Adam Fox isn't having a good year. Like, we don't need to go too deep into the Rangers thing, but like, even the Rangers players that you kind of look at and are like, all right, well, this guy had usually been good when the team was struggling. Fox is having a rough year. Like, their second best or the best defenseman right now is arguably Braden Schneider. Like, they're I don't know. There's nothing I really look at this team.
Anything in this game. And that is typically a good reason to stay away, because I think anything you're betting, you'd have to, like, there's so many like sort of narratives, and there's like a whole other side to this game that the numbers cannot even come close to factoring in. That there's 14 games tomorrow night. Like, there's so many better games to bet on. I don't think that you have to force it here.
I did some digging. I found something for us.
Oh yeah, let's go.
3 coaches in NHL history have filled in or come in replacement of the previous coach during season and won the Jack Adams.
Were they fired though early in the year?
No,
no, they just
never happened.
Is Sullivan?
I want to say one of them was Mike Sullivan.
Bilesma?
Nope.
No.
Bill Barber, Bruce Boudreau, and Ken Hitchcock.
Oh, Boudreau. I remember Boudreau. Boudreau was with the Capitals.
Yeah, so
right?
Barber took over for Craig Ramsey during the Flyers 2000-2001 season. Boudreau replaced Glenn Hanlon a month into the Caps 07-08 season, and Hitchcock replaced Davis Payne a month into the Blues 11-12 season.
Okay.
Yeah. The closest vote occurred in 2006 when the winner, Lindy Ruff, edged out Peter Laviolette by a single vote. So, looks like this has never happened. Trying to find any more information I can get, but yeah, there's obviously numerous instances of coaches winning Jack Adams and being fired the next year. Trying to find anything else, but yeah. Okay, that's it for best bets here tonight. We've got Sabres money line plus 120, Ducks plus 202. Do you guys want to fire any goal scorers or any player props or anything like that? Is there any interest in doing that here tonight?
Not a ton. Should we? We can't even, like, we can do a no goal part, but I don't even, honestly, these games are so.
We can mix the
ugliest
can we mix
slate
them together? Or are we not able to do that?
There's one game on Friday, and I think this is a worse slate somehow. I don't know. This is such an. I don't care about either of these games. Just disgusting.
I don't even want to watch the Rangers tonight. I really don't. It's like, it's one of those, if they win, okay, cool, it's Buffalo. And if they don't, okay, well, same old, same old. Like, there's no upside in this game tonight.
Bad teams are just so difficult to predict night in, night out. Like, the inconsistencies that we'll get from all 4 of these teams, I think, is there's so much variance, and there's ways to take advantage of that. But like, going no goal scorers, and then I can see both these games finishing 7-6, and or betting goal scorers and both these games finish 2-1. Like, none of that would really surprise me here. It's just such an ugly slate.
The variance is also why I like grabbing the plus money in these instances.
Yeah, that's fair.
Especially a big one.
Fair. All right. Well, I mean, we can just leave it at that if we don't go on anything. And there's also not enough games. Like, what the hell are we going to do with that? So that'll be the extent of it. Best bets, Sabres plus 120, Ducks plus 202. You can find us on the BetSamp app as Edgework HQ, where we're tracking everything throughout the course of the season. If you want a list of our futures, we can put out a link to the sheet there as well. Yeah, take our friend.
I already told my wife, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to watch any sports tonight. She's like, there's a new season of The Ultimatum. I'm like, sure, let's do it. You know, there's no sport. There's literally no sports on tonight. I don't care. But this is perfect.
Yeah, nothing.
I'll sit through whatever fucking dumb show you want to watch. Yeah, let's do it.
I'll be going to Buffalo to watch Rangers Sabres.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Straight to Buffalo.
If you do, can you make sure you boo the team?
Yeah.
Do it for me.
Both.
I actually, while we were talking futures, I loaded up tickets to the March 1st Habs Sabres game in Buffalo. So I'm going to be doing that now.
Nice. That should be fun, hopefully.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks to everyone who tuned in here today. Appreciate you guys sticking with us and dealing with yesterday's technical stuff. That obviously was not us, but regardless, we got through it, got the show done over on Twitter. Get back to another day here. Hopefully, we go 2-0 on the best bets. That'll be a nice winning day for the Edgework team and nice winning day for Alber.
You ignored Charles's comment there. I just saw that.
Not to derail the show, make it go later, but can we get a 5-word state of the Leafs excitement level from Phillips and Moretto shitting on them? You're not going to get excitement out of me. They've played like 6 consecutive bad hockey games, and you've somehow
Only
managed
6?
to...
What's that like?
Well, wait for this kicker, Alber. You somehow managed to only lose 2 of them. So, I mean, the Panthers one I just scratch off because, like, look at the roster in that game, and you're playing the Florida Panthers. Like, I marked that as a loss going in. Like, I was prepared for that. Since then, you played a good period and a half against Tampa, fell off a cliff the latter half. Monday against Chicago was bad. Wednesday against Nashville was bad. Friday against Washington, not good. Pittsburgh, not good. Last night, not good. And you've only lost to Washington and Pittsburgh. Like, I'm not excited, but to get through a stretch where you played like garbage and not be trading your most veteran players and making a mess publicly is it's like, well, we'll take it. Let's move on. Like, that's kind of the state for me right now. Stolarz for Vezina, man. Maybe that's the that's the play. That's the bet we're not looking at.
So it's funny. We kind of talked going into the year about how we thought like it was relatively wide open compared to years past. How many teams really feel good about themselves right now? Like, I feel like in general, it's a lot lower.
If you're a Florida fan, you have to feel good about yourself right now. Like, that team is an absolute wagon still.
Yeah.
Just
I mean, like,
wagon.
yeah. No, I agree.
Dallas all of a sudden now, like,
I think there's less than years past.
Space. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. But even Dallas, I don't think Dallas is really happy with how they've started the year. Like, the Devils are near the top of the standings. Like, I don't think the Devils are really happy with how they've started. Like, there's just a lot of those teams that are up at the top that kind of have that same. Yeah, they've been fine, but it just doesn't really feel right. Like, I think there's a lot of teams up there that can say the same thing. Like, you just went on the Leafs. The Leafs are up there. Like,
Connor, I'm not trying to turn this into a shit on the Devils show. But like, I think their season ended last night when Jack Hughes got ran over by Max Pacioretty. That can't happen. That's like, I just can't do it with Hughes, man. He's so soft that he's just not. I don't think he's a guy you win with. I just don't. He's so talented, but he's not that guy, man.
As opposed to Cole.
Sad face.
Did you see Keith's comments about that too?
Yeah, when he said he's like Marner.
No, I didn't see that. I don't know. I don't know about that.
You can't let Moretto have that one.
They asked him about the hit, and he just said about Hughes getting run over. No one on the team did anything, by the way. It was a clean hit, whatever. But like, your captain and your whatever gets like run over like that, like you expect like maybe a tiny response. He just said they asked him about the hit. He just said not a factor. Forgot it even happened. Good stuff. Yeah. This is why his teams are so soft. I don't know.
Connor, nothing personal. All right, let's get out of here on that. Thank you to everyone who tuned in here today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe here to the channel, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. We appreciate you guys for following along. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time for more picks, more previews. If Stolarz wins the Vezina, I'll donate a Stolarz jersey to Zach to wear on the show for the off season. Perfect. Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate it. Thanks so much to everyone who tuned in. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. More picks and previews. Enjoy the games tonight, Alber.
Don't say enjoy the game because I don't
stay away from sharp objects, high ledges, that kind of stuff. Sit down in your room.
Get rid of all your shoelaces.
yeah. Lock the doors.
I don't even want to watch.
Hopefully, we see you soon. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the game tonight. Good luck on your bets.